Right, so we're going to talk today about content and automation and how it applies to closing deals, getting leads, leveraging the great service that you got. I've been talking about developing content for the last couple of years with my clients in a more strategic way. Obviously, HubSpot leads the world in the inbound topic of generating content, creating blog posts, attracting leads that way. And the problem that I've had with that for most of my clients is they don't know what kind of content to create, whether it's infographics or how-to posts or case studies or whatever. And a lot of them have gone down rabbit holes that lead to nowhere by chasing the content campaigns silver bullet, thinking that it's going to solve everything. And so I've got a new client. They're a $5 million service business, professional service business, B2B. And they've got a spectacular line of services that they provide, very innovative. And their biggest problem while we were doing their assessment is that they don't communicate all of their unique abilities and how great they are and differentiate well. And so coming up with a content strategy is super important for them, not just to generate goodwill, but also to convert prospects and convert long-term clients into additional services. And so while brainstorming with them, while coming up with all this, it really helped codify what I call the content and marketing automation pyramid. And so I'm going to highlight that here on this whiteboard. And the foundation really is the proof element. And my desk's on the other side, otherwise I'd turn and face you, but it's in the way. So getting that proof developed first and foremost is the most important part of any persuasion, follow-up, proposal, closing, developing leads. That proof element is key. And so for me, the number one proof element is our case studies. And this client, thankfully, has a treasure trove of them. They've not extracted them out of their own heads, but there's an endless supply of them. It reminds me of a civil engineering firm I worked with years ago. They've been in business for about 30 years, and their case studies consisted of one picture and one sentence. And some of the projects were spectacular, and the services that they had provided were really phenomenal. And I just started meeting with the principals. I just started interviewing them like I was an editor to find out the case study of the story. And some of those case studies ended up being 3 or 4 pages long. And that wasn't me just rambling. There was just so much detail to the problem that the client had, to the solution and the options that they researched, to the final deliverable and the benefits to the community. So this client, we've got a mountain of proof, but that's where I like starting, is case studies. Other ones that are useful are reports or white papers that highlight your expertise, that talk about research you've done or content that you've developed to help your target market. And again, this client's done it. They've researched and surveyed top finance directors, that's their target market, and researched and pulled together all of the research to share with their clients. So they're kind of like going the McKinsey approach of high-level industry knowledge that isn't publicly known. They collect it, they share it, but they're not sharing it in a compelling way to this point. Another one that I like is to define your processes. So a unique deliverable, something that you've got that is unlike others, if you can define how you deliver that, and it doesn't have to give away the farm, it doesn't have to give away your unique IP, but if you can demonstrate how that's delivered, that is a huge content piece for prospects, to make them feel comfortable that they're making the right decision, to take away their uncertainty of what they're going to get after they sign the contract, and goes a long way to developing great content. The next up the hierarchy. So you create this content, you don't just automatically go throw it on your website, in my opinion. I like using it in proposals or contracts or whatever you're using to close prospects. So a lot of proposals that I see nowadays can be bullet point, very short, very concise, but they're not getting across the whole picture. And you may be dealing with a champion in a company, somebody who says they're the decision maker, but then at the end of the day, they really have to go back and get the other true decision makers on board. And they're not going to translate all of the conversations, and you may have referenced case studies, they may have been referred by one of your clients, but they're not going to be able to translate that perfectly to the decision maker. So I view it like the old game telephone when we were kids, and you'd say, Sally has red hair as the beginning, and by the end it says something completely different, that octopuses have 8 legs by the end, at an elementary school setting. And you don't want to trust that champion that you've been dealing with to translate all of your great knowledge, all of your great expertise to that decision maker. So taking case studies and the processes and put them in your proposals is a great way to beef up your proposals. It's exactly what I did with the civil engineering firm. And we took their proposal close rate from 7%, they'd only closed 4 out of 54, to 73%, 11 out of 14. And that became the template for their proposals going forward to pick and choose the ideal projects they wanted to go through or pursue. So the next level up is follow-up campaigns. So follow up. And most of this stuff is going to fall under email. I mean, that's just the reality. We follow up through email. And if you've got sales reps that are trying to figure out how to follow up in a meaningful way, instead of just saying, hey, check in if you've made a decision. Hey, you want to review the proposal again? Hey, checking in if you've gone over had your meeting with your board yet. All meaningless ways of follow-up. They're just tedious, they're pestering, they don't build any goodwill with the client other than showing that your sales reps are like a golden retriever just waiting for the ball to be thrown. And so by having case studies, reports, and processes, you can piece these out into meaningful email follow-up. So let's say that you deliver a proposal, you've got a prospect that's really great, hot prospect. It's been about 3 weeks, no decision's been made. Then you can start breaking down, hey, not sure if you shared this case study. Here's a link to the case study. You might want to share this with your decision makers. Or when you're meeting with your board and you're going to go over who to decide who to work with, here's our process for onboarding and getting started. So it makes email follow-up super meaningful. Plus, it sets the foundation for the next step, which is opt-in offers. So this is primarily where the funnel building crowd goes, as they say. Build a landing page, set up an opt-in form, and get leads. Well, if you don't have the proof built, what are you going to offer? And then if you don't have the proof built, what are you going to follow up with? So you can try to generate leads. You can spend a lot of money on Facebook ads or direct mail or whatever to build that list, but without this foundation, it's pointless. And so I see a lot of companies spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on a funnel development system. They get all the technology, they get Infusionsoft, they get the landing pages, they set up ClickFunnels, whatever. They set up all of this stuff, but it's just an empty shell. And the providers of those funnel services may say, oh, well, we've built the most important part, the foundation, the shell that they can put the decoration on, all of this content. But the reality is they never carry them across the line, or I shouldn't say never, most times they don't carry them across the line to get this content developed. So once you have this content, this library of content to work with, you can then start building a list. And the reality is, for most B2B service companies that I work with, they don't need a huge list. It's not like they're trying to build a 100,000 contact email list. A couple hundred targets that they get this content out to is millions of dollars of business. It's just the reality. So the opt-in offers are secondary for most of my clients. Now, you may be in a get-rich-quick or get-fit-fast business, and it's very cutthroat, and you've got to get compelling leads because your timeline for follow-up or the fad, the fidget spinners that you're selling, whatever, or come and go. You're not my target market. None of this matters. You're just slamming people through an opt-in to a sales page. This doesn't apply to those businesses. So if that's you, get what you can out of this. This is for B2B service businesses, B2B manufacturers, B2B companies that are making big sales, that have a lot of competition at the decision table. They're not their unique ability is not widely known. It's hard to differentiate in this space because so many other people are using the same terms to say that they know what they're delivering, but they really don't at the end of the day. So that's opt-in offers. Next level up is lead scoring. And this is the beginning of automation on a strategic level. Obviously, follow-up campaigns can be automated. You can tag leads. You can put them in a campaign. You can have the opt-in offer feed a campaign. But lead scoring is really where I see automation widely underused. And so when you have campaigns, opt-in offer, and you've got content on your site, and you've got people consuming it, and then they have an opt-in or some kind of contact experience, you can apply a lot of rules to that lead to say, hey, this is a worthwhile person. They've consumed this case study, this report, they've read these 3 blog posts. Let's tag them as a hot prospect. Let's follow up with them with something meaningful, or retarget them on our site with, what was it, ConvertFlow? Something like that, where we can make rules based on them fitting these criteria that they're a high quality lead. Or Drip's marketing system, you can score them easily as well. Most automation systems allow scoring. But that's really the next level up. And then finally, you end up with automation and segmentation. Obviously, too big to fit in that little pyramid top. But this is where I think going hog wild and setting up Pardot or Infusionsoft or HubSpot or whatever is after you get this foundational piece built. The lead scoring kicks in because you want to know who the most qualified people are to focus on getting proposals and closing them. Then the marketing automation goes one step out and starts helping you with more advanced ways to build your list, more advanced ways to segment your audience, classify them based on likelihood to purchase, likelihood or size of purchase, opportunity. And that to me is where automation really comes in. So leave comments below, message me if you've got a company you're trying to figure out how to create content for. This to me is the backbone of everything I develop for client content, and the order in which we develop it, because if we get it out of order, again, we just end up with maybe leads coming in and nothing to send to them, or we end up with proposals that can be optimized, but we're getting more leads, but we've got deals already in the pipe that we need to work on. So to me, this is the progression of the bottleneck breakthrough method around content, so that it's converting for you at every stage. It's performing better for you at every stage and adding compound returns based on moving up this pyramid. Hope it's helpful. Have a great day.